Well, medical cannabis producer and distributor Hydropothecary has signed a spate of deals recently. They include a supply deal with the SAQ in Quebec, that's the provincial liquor store distribution operation, and a deal with Shopify to help it sell online to patients with a prescription. Joining us is Hydropothecary CEO Sébastien St. He joins us from that big conference in downtown Toronto. Sébastien, thank you very much for joining us. Why don't we start with the Shopify deal? What's the potential there for your company?
Well, I think what's great is we selected a top world-class partner, and this is what we need to become a world-class company. We need to keep surrounding ourselves with that best-in-class. This platform will allow us to really respond to customer needs, understand exactly what the customers want, and in an environment where we can't advertise in traditional ways, really get out to the market and supply products.
Will Hydropothecary have a Shopify storefront through which it sells directly?
So our intention is not to be a retail provider. Hydropothecary's strategic focus is very much on product development and branding, and to choose the right retail partners to work with, like the SAQ in Quebec.
Tell us more about that deal, the SAQ deal in Quebec.
Well, it's really a landmark deal. I'm incredibly proud of the team for what we managed to accomplish. 200,000 kilograms over 5 years. This is the largest deal of its kind that's ever been signed anywhere in the world for cannabis. It's something that, as we forecast out at about $5 a gram, could be worth upwards of $1 billion in forward revenue. And it significantly de-risks the Hydropothecary story, as it has some built-in escalators and gives real revenue visibility. So 20 tons in year 1, 35 tons in year 2, and 45 tons in year 3. This will help, I believe, investors to make choices and to really start differentiating different stories in the cannabis space.
Will your product be for sale in SAQ locations, correct? Physically in bricks and mortars SAQ locations?
That's right. So SAQ will be launching 20 stores year 1, a target of 150 stores across Quebec by year 3. And we are participating in all the retail bricks and mortar locations as the preferred supplier to the SAQ for that 5-year contract. Also has a 1-year renewal option. And of course, we will continue to serve our medical patients across Canada. And we are also onlining a platform for mail order for all adult use patients in Quebec.
Is the SAQ the only approved retailer of recreational cannabis in the province, as is in Ontario the government-owned marijuana stores?
That's right, and I think that this has yet to set in on the market, but there's 6 companies, including Hydropothecary, that are participating in the Quebec market in the next 3 years. That's very significant because when you consider Canada as a market, that means that effectively, if you're not on that list of 6 companies, you are precluded from participating in 25% of the Canadian market. So that means that's put a ceiling on all our other competitors. We have a great advantage going forward. And of course, Hydropothecary, the preferred supplier to SAQ for 5 years, a longer contract duration than any competitor, and also the largest piece of that supply deal, accounting for about 35% of the entire supply.
And how are you ramping up to live up to your end of that supply deal? I understand that you are in the process of developing a large greenhouse facility.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to say we're actually ahead of schedule. We have our first purchase order on hand, so we know what the demand is for the first 3 months. We have the inventory on hand, so there are no concerns whatsoever on execution. Our new greenhouse of 250,000 square feet is actually going to have plants in on May 20th, so that's a month and a week ahead of schedule. So that, combined with the slight delay in the legalization, so pushing out sometime to August, September, has actually given us quite a bit of a buffer. We're very confident on our ability to execute this contract.
What's the company's position on M&A? There's a lot of players out there. We've told our viewers today that there are now 100 licensed producers of marijuana in this country, 101 to be exact. What is your company's posture on acquiring or being acquired?
I think we're always looking to maximize value for shareholders, and I think strategic partnerships are going to play a greater and greater role in this industry when we look to big alcohol, pharmaceuticals, et cetera, but also other verticals such as foods, functional foods, and cosmetics are starting to be very interesting to us. As far as acquiring, Hydropothecary's objectives are to go and continue to develop our expertise on products, specifically for water-soluble cannabis, and of course, brands and distribution.
Sébastien St. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Sébastien St. is the CEO of Hydropothecary.